Welcome back to another episode of the STGeek Podcast with myself, AJ, and along with me, as always, are my co-hosts,
Peter.
John. Peter, raise this down, guys.
Present.
So you know.
Yeah, thank you. Very good, class. Right here on the STGeek Podcast, we talk about movies, gaming, comics, and shows, essentially. We're going to get right into it. We do have, at the end of the year, our top 5 movies of 2018. But before we get into that, we usually do have some news stories to go over that happened over the past week or so. So to start off, Peter, what was the first story you wanted to bring up?
So, this story is a couple of weeks old, and I'm sure anybody who's into the entertainment industry has heard of it, has heard about it by now.
I'm not.
Tingling with relevancy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But Alfonso Ribeiro, famous for playing Carlton in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yep.
It's not unusual.
He's suing Epic Games for the use of his very famous Carlton dance in their game Fortnite.
Yes.
And I think this brings the total up to 3 people who are suing Epic Games for use of their iconic, borderline patented trademark dances. So the weird thing about, I say, it's a very odd situation to do something like this. Like to have, like, can you really trademark a dance? Is that a thing?
I feel like they'll still get some kind of settlement money. I don't think they're shooting to win the case. I think they're shooting for the creators to settle.
It's very.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because I don't think you can just say that's my dance. You can't do it.
See, that's what I mean. See, Michael Jackson's moonwalk comes to mind because he didn't invent that move, but he's certainly the one that people think of. He's the one that popularized it. So, like, where are the lines here exactly, as far as the law is concerned?
In front
and
of
trademarks
the moonwalk or behind the moonwalk?
Exactly.
Right?
That's a fair call. Yeah. Like, back in the 80s, people did dance similar to how the Carlton looks, just not maybe quite as dramatically, you could say. But yeah.
Well, there is, I don't remember the two, but I guess TMZ themselves have himself saying that he took the idea of the dance from 2 different type of dances and he put it together. So it's not even like, it is kind of his original, but it's not, because he took the idea from other.
I mean, if he had inspiration from something and you make it your own, is that not creating something new?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like writing a song,
but it's not 100% his original recipe, because if you see the 2 other dances, you can see how he combined them. Because one dance kind of had like the hand swinging left and right, and the other dance was a little bit more of the movement of the hips, and he just fucking put them together. He fused them. Cat dog, guys, cat dog.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You know, I'm surprised I haven't seen sue them yet. Is Donald not Glover, I don't remember his last name, from Scrubs, because I know they took
Faison.
That was like that was like the very first dance. For the longest time, it was the only dance.
He actually did mention it, at least on Twitter, about
complaining that they didn't even like credit him, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm sure he's gonna jump on the Siggy train.
Probably,
because it's 100% ripped from that episode of
Scrubs. Yeah, the Airband episode.
It's a great episode, by the way.
That's an amazing episode. That's an amazing show. Watch it, guys.
If you haven't, it's really good.
Is it still on Netflix?
No, sadly, Hulu.
Okay. It did have a long ass run on Netflix.
It was one of the first on their streaming services. It was definitely one of their first.
That's pretty crazy to think. So yeah, it does beg the question: is it worth doing so? Because as you were kind of getting to, like John and Peter, as far as it could be considered his original dance, whether it drew inspiration from multiple dances or not. The thing is, it was called the Carlton, and now Fortnite is using those same exact moves. So rather than drawing inspiration from him, they're just straight up ripping the moves from him and putting it in the game. So that makes me wonder, like, does he have somewhat of a case settlement? Well, possibly.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Peter, but you have to pay for the dances? Or is it just pre-installed in the game?
Some of them you have to, well, I guess technically speaking you have to pay for all of them, but the thing is some of them are exclusive to the Battle Pass. You have to play the game to unlock them. You buy the Battle Pass, and then you have to level up to unlock certain dances, whereas other ones you straight up pay for. However, there is in-game currency that you can earn to pay for things as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the option is still, if I didn't want to do in-game currency, I can just deposit my money and just buy the dance.
Yeah,
I think there's a case right there. I think, because they're just straight up profiting 100% from their dance.
Yeah, but then it just circles back to can you even own a dance? Like, is money even owed in the first place? Because it's your dance.
Does the dance have the titles, like the names?
No.
Like, okay.
You could they skirt around it. You could tell. They make references
Alfonso,
to it.
There you go. The Ribera. Something along those lines.
They don't outright say what the dance is, but there's like the title and there's like a little description. They reference what it's referencing, but not flat out. If you're in the know, then you know what they're talking about.
That's such a touchy subject because it sounds like they covered their bases by.
Yeah, they give a nod, but not full credit.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which is a little messed up.
Yeah, but they're
kind
not
of clever.
They're not
at the same
admitting
time,
that they're stealing from their dance.
which
it's
is
just
it's
a little sprinkle.
yeah, a little Easter egg, I guess, if you will. Again, if you know, if you know, you know.
Yeah,
that's all. Okay, so then kind of weird.
Well, I should mention
please.
before we move on, I didn't mention with the other people who were suing. So it was Alfonso Ribeiro for the Carlton dance. It was Backpack Kid for the floss. And it was some rapper whose name I don't know. It was like 2 Mills or something.
T Mills.
Does he have 2 Mills? Oh, T Mills.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. It sounded like his name isn't very good. His music's probably not good either.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
send all your hate.
Happy
Chava, Instagram,
You're a fan
and
of
Twitter.
modern day rap. Actually, send him to me. I might end up liking him. We'll see. Probably not though.
There's some good hip hop out there, modern day hip hop.
Yeah, most of it's trash though. I said it.
That's fair enough.
Change my mind.
Art is subjective anyway. It's all good. All right. So anyway, moving on.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. So John, what was the thing you wanted to bring up?
I don't even know if I want to talk anymore. I feel uncomfortable when I'm there fucking art and whatnot. So Kevin Feige was interviewed and he was asked when they actually think they're going to start developing stories for the Marvel characters that were originally owned by Fox, which we were talking about it before, was Fantastic Four and X-Men.
Yes.
And some other characters that are involved in them, like Silver Surfer is a part of Fantastic Four, so they have the rights to that, Galactus, all that fun stuff. So when he was interviewed, he basically said it's looking very, very good, and it could happen in the next 6 months of the next year. So within 6 months of 2019, they might start developing stories. So we might get announcements, hopefully, 2020. Something that's from that franchise.
So we're still quite a few years off before we actually.
But it's happening, man.
On the screen.
Oh,
it's happening.
Like it's in the works now.
Silver Surfer.
I'm very glad that they're taking their time with this. They're not just jumping straight into it. I like that they're they're rounding out their plans that they already have before they bring in all these new properties that they have.
Maybe we'll see something actually in theaters by the end of maybe Phase 5 or 4, something like that. Because we are in the middle of Phase 4, correct?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Or we're about to end.
Of it.
Yes.
Well,
the next
after
few months.
isn't it a brand new just phase? Not Phase 5, 6, 7, 8? Or are they just gonna keep on calling them phases?
I don't know. They haven't really said anything.
I don't even know if phases are an official statement by the MCU themselves, by Marvel and Disney.
Oh no, there were.
Yeah,
they were.
Say
okay, gotcha. I've always heard the term. I just never knew if that was like officially titled by them or not. But either way, I think it is pretty cool. I want to see X-Men movies for sure.
A good Fantastic Four.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Done with quality and care and every
good
bit.
Doctor Doom.
Yes.
Live action as Doctor Doom.
Damn it.
So psyched.
Oh yeah. Enemies that we can actually respect and not make Doctor Doom look like a big pushover.
Yeah.
Magneto as well.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Sentinel Force, all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder who they're gonna get. If Michael Fassbender doesn't come back as Magneto, I wonder who they're gonna get. If they're gonna keep any of the original cast or
doubt it.
not.
No, they're gonna just clean slate.
Probably.
Clean. I 100%.
But that brings me to, I wonder how they're going to bring the X-Men into the universe at all. Like, are they gonna try to do some weird, like they were there the whole time but in secret, like kind of a thing? Or are they just gonna be like, now there's mutants? I feel like all of a sudden there's mutants would be a very
just out of nowhere
would be a very, very cheap thing to do. I don't think it would be very interesting as far as plot goes, as well as it doesn't do a lot of the characters justice. Is like everybody. Excuse me. However, it does, I guess, give you the opportunity to like handle the origin stories of a lot of different mutants.
Yeah.
However, I think I would like better. I would like it better if they had it so that the mutants were there the whole time, but in secret. Like maybe.
But then doesn't that kind of defeat the Xavier's whole "I want the world to know who we are"? Or no, it's Magneto.
It's Magneto
that he wants the whole world to know that mutants are alive. So he was just in secret the whole time.
You can write it like maybe Magneto and Professor Xavier like came to an agreement of some sort. There's like a truce of some kind. Maybe Professor X
I guess
wipe. Maybe they at one point the mutants were out, but then Professor X like wiped the memories of everybody.
That's possible.
Or maybe they just started developing at current time.
Yep.
It doesn't have to necessarily be during World War II or fucking apocalypse in Egyptian times. It can just... It's happening now.
They have the chance.
I don't know if I would like that.
Yeah, but that goes back to like kind of not doing justice to some of the characters.
Why would they bring back Apocalypse? They already did it. I guess
good.
they could, yeah.
They could do it better.
I feel like they would use Galactus before they use Apocalypse.
At least maybe as the next big bad, perhaps so.
Oh, probably.
That's possible.
Yeah.
For all we know, that may be the case. My thought is I do like the idea of the whole underground, like everyone's trying to stay underground, which is why they never appeared in the MCU as an excuse this whole time. Because, I mean, it is a huge, like, idea of racism, essentially. And so in order for them to stay safe, maybe like you guys said, perhaps Xavier and Magneto did make a pact to keep things low-key. That because, obviously, they're being hunted. Maybe we can have that as a theme. I don't know what they're going to do, but I am excited to see what Disney and Marvel are going to be able to pull off for this, for sure. It seems like a really fun idea.
Do you think it's going to be like a whole universe of X-Men, or do you think they'll keep it down to like a group of 20 instead of the entire world is roaming around with mutants?
I don't know, because that's its own.
It can be its whole universe.
Exactly. To introduce the X-Men into this world that's already been built up very well over the past 10 years with all these different characters, it's going to be very difficult to introduce any amount of X-Men, big or small. So I think the way to do it would be to start off small, though.
Yeah, of course. Let us care about a core central amount of characters rather than blowing it way out of proportion and not really caring about anyone in the end.
And I
really,
think they're good about they're good about that. They're good about making you care about these characters and really connecting with their story.
Yep.
Unless you're Iron Man, I don't know.
I mean, I personally
It's
care
hard to
about
relate to
Iron Man.
I care about him too, but when you really look at it, he's a dick.
He is a dick.
Through all the movies, he's the reason that the frickin' Sokovia Accord, not the Sokovia Accords, the Sokovia Accords.
Oh yeah, everyone blames him, kind of.
Yeah, they were just like Ultron. It's his fault. He's the reason this world is so fucked up.
Yes.
He's the reason the Civil War happened, because he's just like, the Sokovia Accords were just like, the United States doesn't like that you guys are going into other countries and doing whatever the fuck you want. Nobody's doing this but Iron Man. And Iron Man's the only one doing this. In the first movie, he goes to Iraq or whatever and like just kills a bunch of people. It's the only one.
Fuck.
I like him because he's charismatic, but when you get past that, he's an asshole.
Facade.
Yes.
It's like whatever doesn't fit to his thought or his idea of how things should be, then
it's wrong.
Then it's wrong, essentially, yeah. He's the reason why Civil War kind of happened. Like, I mean, he kind of divided, like, not mutant kind, but superhero kind, you could say.
Yes.
And it kind of started all of this bullshit.
Do you think that's why Thanos respects him? You know,
right? You two were willing to make the choice. Something along those lines.
He said you're also burdened with knowledge.
Yes. Damn. It's actually really
Respect.
deep. They're both dictator assholes, really. But both charismatic in their own way.
Again, I enjoy the character. He's funny and he's clever, but don't be fooled.
He likes calling out people for playing Galaga. Yeah, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta love him. But
speaking of Galaga, did you hear that officially that Galaga guy survived the snap?
No, I did not know
Feige
that.
said that.
Wow.
He's like, don't worry, everybody. Galaga guy's alive.
He's still working towards the high score. Yeah, keeping the dream alive.
Man's playing Galaga.
Yeah, right?
Or was it the opposite? Did he die? I don't remember.
Survived.
Maybe he survived. I don't remember.
RPG child.
Right.
Yep.
Maybe his dead body is like just slowly moving the control stick while he's going, or mouse and keyboard, whatever he's using to play on it as. But either way, that is really exciting. I want to see a good Fantastic Four. I want to see the origin of the X-Men come into play. It doesn't even have to be a full-on origin. They can already obviously have their powers and have set sides and everything, but have it slowly but surely grow from underground to full-on acknowledgement within the world, and then that's what allows them to be a part of the greater MCU. That's my thoughts on it. That's what I'm hoping for, essentially.
This whole thing just reminded me about the New Mutants movie that was supposed to come out, I think, earlier this year.
Yeah.
That they just kind of scrapped.
Like
it's ready. It's ready to go.
It's there.
It's
I'm
been
sure
screen
it will
tested.
eventually be released.
But we have no official word about that.
Yeah, they dropped that real quick just because in screen tests, a lot of audiences didn't care for it.
I wanted to see it. The
it looked
interesting.
fun.
I liked that. It's weird to me that Fox are the ones that started doing different things with their properties, doing different themes. They had like a a straight up comedy with Deadpool.
Yep.
This
Raunchy,
New Mutants movie
gory
was 100% a horror movie, like with
Old Man
mutants in it.
Logan.
Old Man Logan being like a Western noir kind of thing.
It was great.
Like,
sure.
Yeah, so good.
So I'm just upset. I'm really upset that I don't get to see this movie, and that there's no official word as to when, if ever, we're going to be able to.
If ever. Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, I hope it comes back to light. Maybe they're just really trying to make sure it works. But again, with this whole acquisition of Disney Fox, who's to say if we will ever get that now?
I'm afraid of.
Yeah, maybe Disney will just can it all together because I don't think they're going to bother to mess with that if they own the rights to it now.
You feel like you release it, you make some money. It's better than no money.
True. Yeah. I mean, what reputation do you have left to uphold at this point
Netflix,
anyway?
Maybe their Disney streaming service. I don't know.
Interesting thoughts.
It'll come out.
Yeah, I wanted
some of those shitty movies like that Fantastic Four that was made in like the 90s.
Oh God.
Eventually released. I don't know if you've heard about that, AJ.
No.
They needed to make a movie to keep the contract going. So they made and they released it once on TV. And then eventually
obligation
it got
just
released.
to officially say that they did.
Yep.
Wow.
That's what happened with the Spider-Man movies, right? Didn't they need to make that
Amazing Spider-Man?
as quickly
pretty
as
much.
possible?
Oh,
Because they were
really?
going to lose their contract.
Mm-hmm.
They have to make so
shit.
many movies within a certain time span or else they lose the characters.
I see. That makes sense. And then it ended up Disney kind of taking, not really the helm, but becoming part of the MCU anyway. Kind of weird how it worked out that way.
They were in
They
talks
share the
since that
character.
Sony
leak happened.
leak.
I see. Okay.
Thank you, Seth Rogen.
Right? We'll take it.
That leak was so weird. Like, there's a lot of stuff.
Well, that's
that got
because of
leaked.
that movie about North Korea. What was it called?
The something. The interview?
That's
The
it.
interview.
That's the
Yes,
interview.
they were
Yes.
pissed, and then they hacked Sony.
God,
and
remember that? Everybody thought World War III was.
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
happen.
Just
Gosh.
because of
That was
fucking
scary.
comedy?
Yeah. Oh shit.
Not worth it. Jesus Christ.
So here we are, guys.
Here we are.
Fuck you, North Korea.
We still out here. Thanks, Kim Jong-un. Were there any other stories we had for the week? Or was that about it? Us.
Us, yeah. The trailer to that.
The Us movie 2019, directed by and written by Jordan Peele, was it?
Peele. Directed for sure. I didn't. It looks like he
I think
would
it
have
said
written
written
it.
by
Oh,
him,
did it?
yeah.
Okay.
It did definitely say by the director and writer of Get Out. But yeah. Have you guys seen Get Out?
No, I have not.
I have. You guys have you, AJ? No. Okay, so Johnny, you should.
Is it that good?
It's good.
The
It's worth
less
seeing.
you know about it, the better.
Yes.
I think.
I don't know shit about
Good.
it.
Keep it that
I
way.
just know it
I didn't
touches
know
on
either.
like racial
tensions. Yeah, a little bit.
It plays with your expectations in a very good way.
You think it's one thing and
then it's something different. It's so good.
yeah, don't want to overhype it for John or anyone that's listening. But yeah, it's worth it. It's a good thriller, suspense, not really horror so much.
Kind of a comedy.
Yeah,
Of like
it's written by Jordan Peele, so there's comedy in there.
Very hard to narrow it down. It's such if you should see it just because of how unique it is. It's very niche. It's hard to categorize.
Yeah.
It's very
That
different.
makes sense.
It's a good amalgamation of different genres put together. I won't give spoilers. I'm just gonna paraphrase a quote by Jordan Peele. He said he wanted to make Get Out and future movies to make white people feel awkward. I mean, and he's half white himself, so he's kind of poking fun at himself.
To say it.
I'm just saying
I mean,
he's
I
poking
didn't know
fun
that's how it
at
works.
his family and his origins as well. You know, he's a pretty well humored guy, I think.
Definitely.
He's very
For
very
sure.
funny.
So-
But Get Out, definitely worth a watch. And I'm looking forward to Us to get
This
to the
looks
movie.
like a horror movie. This looks straight.
Straight horror, yeah.
It looks good horror.
To get into the trailer a little bit, you know, we do have a family that seems to be going on like a vacation of sorts.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big old happy time. Everyone's singing show tunes in the car and radio hits from the 90s and shit like that.
I got 5 on it.
I got 5
my
on it.
all-time
I got
favorite
like
Can't
10
go
on
wrong
it,
with
but
that.
yeah, that's cool.
I never saw
You got
little
5
kids
on it,
sing that
Peter?
song before. Right? Let's go. Yeah, but yeah, so that was the case. And then, you know, that shows them all having a good time. It seems like it's going to be a really fun movie, lighthearted in the beginning, like, you know, just happy-go-lucky shit. And then all of a sudden, they get to their vacation destination, and like any typical horror movie, that's when everything comes into play.
Yeah, they show like that figure
Yeah.
standing at the beach right there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
All of a sudden. And again, this movie, I feel like it's going to play off a good amount of comedy beats by Jordan Peele for sure, inspired by anyway. And some bits did seem like it could have been a little comedic but not on purpose. That was just my vibe from it. Like, some of it seemed a little laughable, but it's hard for me to take horror and suspense films sometimes very seriously until I'm actually watching them.
Because it's the trailer. Like, when he's standing outside and it's like that shadow family, he's like, you come over here, I got something for you. Yeah, it looked like he could have been a bit on the funny side. But.
True. And I think part of that is a joke because he was wearing like a Harvard sweater. So even though he's a really big guy, at the same time, he's obviously not much of a hard ass. So that might be part of the comedy of the film as well. But ultimately, though, I want to see this movie.
It's the first I've seen it, and I'm very excited for it. Starring the gentleman who played M'Baku in Black Panther and Infinity War.
Yeah, Winston Duke is his name. As
well as the girl who played what's her name? She was the love interest in Black Panther.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
No,
I didn't even notice
that was
her in the
her. That
trailer.
was his wife.
Really?
That was the wife. How did you not recognize her?
Anna Diop. I might get the butcher some names right now, but Anna Diop, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, that's Elizabeth Moss. Was she Caucasian? I don't even know who you're talking about.
I know who you're talking about now.
She was one of the main focuses of the trailer. The mother.
This lady?
Yes, that lady.
Okay, Anna Diop.
That's her. Peter's getting up. He's confirming. Oh God!
I can't see it from where.
Yeah, Peter's behind the mic.
Yeah, look at her filmography.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for AJ to do.
Okay, fair enough.
Come on, AJ, scroll. Keep scrolling, AJ.
She's the love interest.
She's in Titans. What?
Wait, what? She's in Titans?
She's Starfire. Are you sure, Peter?
I don't recognize her in Starfire. That's her?
Are we being racist right now?
I'm glad you said that, AJ.
I'm feeling the tension building from the audience right now.
We'll edit
She's
it.
not
IPT
Starfire.
Everyone's shaking their head right now.
I'm the right one here. You guys are the racists. I'm not doing anything wrong.
If Peter's correct, tweet him at BG Chava. Let us know. I want to know.
But if he's wrong, please let him know he's wrong.
I definitely recognize her, but I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen Black Panther since it hit theaters, so it's probably just my bad memory.
But I mean, I don't see her on the...
Let's go with that. I'm fine with that. But we also do have the gentleman that played Black Manta in Aquaman most recently. Again, I might butcher his name, forgive me. But Yahya Abdul Mateen II. That's actually pretty cool as well. I didn't notice him in the trailer, though.
Neither did I.
But apparently he's on the IMDb page for the movie, so I'm looking forward to seeing him in another movie so soon.
Yeah.
March 2019.
Each of these actors and actress.
Yes.
I've liked that. I've only seen their performances in the movies we just spoke of. But I like them a lot. I think they're really great. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on these actors and their future projects. Yes. They're really good.
And the young actress that's co-starring in the movie, Lupita Nyong'o. Again, I'm probably butchering the name, but she seems to play a very creepy role. Like, I feel like we're gonna fall in love with the character and really care about her arc and everything like that because she seems like kind of the protector. But her alternate character in the movie seems really freaking creepy. Like that scene where she's laughing in that kind of deep tone.
If you've seen the trailer, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. And it's very unsettling.
Just kind of changing subjects really quickly. Sure. I forgot to tell you guys, I watched Witch.
Oh, you watched it?
I ended up watching it like 2 weeks after you guys brought it up. Yeah, it was nice and eerie. I think that's a great way of putting it.
Did you like it when the witch was kind of mashing?
Muddling it was just, I remember I got up later on that night. I was like, "Oh fuck, the witch is gonna get me."
It's just very,
Glad to hear it.
It's eerie.
It's unsettling.
It's unsettling the whole time. You feel
it's not very scary.
No,
not in your traditional way, but it's just
no jump scares or anything like that.
No, but it gets under your skin.
But that's what I like about it.
That's what I feel like.
It's
this
not a
movie's
cheap
gonna be
scare.
good.
Exactly.
Both. I feel like we're gonna get both out of this.
There's a movie.
Yes,
there's another movie I'll bring up later that's in my top 5 that achieves the same thing.
All right. Ooh, I can't wait to hear this.
I know, right? We'll get into it in just a minute. But yeah, ultimately, go check out the trailer if you haven't already for Us 2019 coming out in March. Be on the lookout. Jordan Peele looks like he might have another big hit on his hands. Again, I'll reserve full judgment until I see the movie.
Of course.
Again, I'm not the biggest horror movie buff, though I love to go out and take the time to go see one. This is one I'm definitely going to have to see that we'll be reviewing on the show for sure. I mean, we all are pretty enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yes, go and see Get Out as well, John, and everyone that's listening.
You
for
guys
sure.
recommended it.
It's a good one. We recommended Witch, and you liked that one. So we'll
it was
see.
It was great. Yeah,
A totally different kind of vibe, though, for sure. is eerie. But yeah, still good. But anyway, yes, we will get into our segment of our top 5 favorite movies from all of us on the show. But before we do, if ever you have any questions or topics you would like us to bring up, we'll give you a little shout out. Just email us at stgeekpod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at STGeekPod for sure. All right, so top 5s, boys. Peter, do you want to start with your number 5?
Not really.
Okay, I'll start with mine.
Shit.
I'll start with mine then. Everyone's doing their research last second, it looks like.
No, well, I was
No, I got
checking.
mine,
There
yeah.
was one movie I forgot about, but I wasn't sure if it came out this year or last year.
Okay, well, you can reserve it as an honorable mention if you have all 5 already.
All right, I do have all 5.
Okay, cool.
So are we just going to do one by one? Like do 5s?
We'll do 5s
Okay.
and 4s and etc. Yeah.
So coming in at number 5 for me,
Rampage.
totally.
I watched that recently. I didn't mind it.
Oh,
Jumanji!
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was gonna say, was
We
that
both got
2017
excited.
anyway? That's a
I
good
actually
movie.
haven't seen it.
it's pretty good.
It's a good movie.
Really?
You just
Solid.
ignore the fact
Solid.
that there was an original Jumanji, and this is pretty
It's
good.
completely different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. It's
There-
a comedy,
There are wildlife animals from the Sahara in it, but otherwise it's pretty damn different.
and they say Jumanji at the end.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
There you go. But yeah, it's a pretty good movie.
Damn,
Pretty
you
good
just
movie.
ruined that
I
one
would
for me.
recommend it. All right,
Okay, so my
5.
actual number
Yes, what's
5
real number 5?
is A Quiet Place.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
You know what? That's my number 5 too.
Okay, I was thinking about it, but I'll consider that an honorable mention on
See,
mine.
I like A Quiet Place because it does a really good job of just making you feel uncomfortable. And I like that they don't over-explain the universe.
Nope.
True.
You for a movie like this, you really have to buy into the premise, buy into this world, and I feel like they do a really good job of doing that without it feeling too heavy-handed.
Yes.
As well as just all of the performances. I'm drawing a blank on the actor, and I believe he directed it as well.
Yeah. John
Krasinski
Krasinski, yes,
and Emily Blunt.
and Emily Blunt.
Yes.
husband and
Boy,
wife. Yeah.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie. But that scene where she has to give birth and the creatures like fall on her, like you just there's so much. It's so tense,
It
and you just feel
is.
so scared for
Yes.
her.
What scene really got me was, and it didn't even happen yet, but when you see the nail coming out of the
Oh,
the-
yeah.
and
The
I remember when they
foreshadowing.
first show it, and you hear everybody in the theater go,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, it's gonna happen, guys.
It's really good. This is one of those movies that can be ruined with a bad audience. If you're,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
But luckily, the audience I saw it with was
it was
great.
pretty good.
They were
It kind
really
of hurt
quiet.
people here and there, but
I was with a bad audience member, so
your dad, yeah.
I love that guy. But we'll move on. Go ahead, continue with your thoughts on
I want to hear
Quiet
the
Place.
story later. Okay.
After the pod. After
One
Okay.
day I'll tell the story on the podcast. If I haven't already, yeah, I'll tell the story one day.
All
If you
right,
want to
so
hear
yeah.
it, let us know.
The performances are great. The pacing is great.
Yeah.
There is one issue I had with it, which was I didn't like that. Again, spoiler alert. We're just gonna. I guess we're just gonna.
No, we
if
should.
they
Just,
haven't
it's 2018. Watch movies, guys.
if they
Yes.
haven't seen it by now, we'll just do spoilers for all these. Full spoilers
yeah.
for all
I'm
these
not-
movies.
I'm not trying to
Spoilers.
sugarcoat the shit.
I didn't necessarily like the fact that John Krasinski had to die to save his children, because at the end of the day, they already, like, the audience already knows the creature's weaknesses. They already know how to, like, keep them away and fight back. I understand that it was important for that character's arc. Because he feels guilty for not doing something for his other son who dies in the beginning of the
kind of
movie.
resents the
Yeah.
daughter a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I understand its purpose for his arc for everything to come full circle, but it's still unsettling to know that it didn't have to happen in the first place.
Yeah, I feel the same way about it. I was ultimately, I guess it made me feel something, but at the same time, I was like, nah, I didn't feel like it was necessary at all.
Yeah.
Or at least not very much.
Overall, though, great movie.
Yeah, overall, very good movie.
It's so original to
Yes.
go into a theater with a movie that has absolutely no sound.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like watching Charlie Chaplin all
Yeah,
over again.
right.
guys.
It's for most of it. There
In a
is
whole
some
new way.
talking
Yeah.
that happens during the movie, but
A
for the most part,
tiny
it's a
bit,
silent
yeah.
movie, and it's done so well, so unique. It's great.
It's
I'm looking forward to his next movie.
Yeah,
For sure.
Speaking of Quiet Place, I wanted to bring this up lately. A movie that's very similar that came out recently on Netflix was Bird
Oh,
Box. AJ, I don't believe you've
No,
seen
did
it,
not
but
see it.
John and I have.
Spoilers, AJ.
Go ahead.
Spoilers.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't think we need to get into spoilers.
Nah, we don't
so
need to
much.
get into spoilers.
It is a newer movie.
It's more so
Yeah.
about the premise than it's the journey, not the destination type of movie.
Gotcha.
So it's very the only reason I heard about this is because everybody
All
and their
the
grandmothers
memes
is
all over
posting
the place,
memes
like crazy,
and like social media. It's
I had
all
never
over
even
the
heard.
place.
I was just
Me
home,
neither.
and my dad was like, "You want to watch this movie?" I was like, "Okay," and then I watched it. I was like, "Okay, it's decent."
It's pretty good.
It's good.
It's very
worth
similar
the
to A
watch.
Quiet Place.
Yes.
It's not great, and I think it kind of ends on a bit of a lull.
Yeah. It does.
But it's worth watching. It's on Netflix, so you might
It's
as
really
well.
good. One thing I will bring up about it, and it's not so much spoilers, is I like how they go back and forth between present day and past.
Yeah, they do a really good job of fleshing out the main character, played by Sandra Bullock. They really do flesh out her personality as well as her motivations and whatnot. There is a little bit I'm confused about. This is still pretty new, so I'm not going to go into spoilers.
Sure.
There is maybe we'll talk about it sometime in later podcasts. But there is something about her motivations that confused me. Maybe it's just something I missed, as I often do. But still, it's a very good movie.
Watch it. If you like The Quiet Place, watch this one. Not as great,
I may
but
give it a
still
try.
really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Then you won't be lost on the memes, my friend.
There
Yeah,
you go.
you gotta
for the
stay-
memes alone.
Fair
You gotta
enough.
stay hip with the memes for the kids.
Do it
You
for the
gotta-
memes.
Gotta connect with the kids.
Fair enough. We gotta be hip and cool, right? All right. So you guys said you're both sharing number 5 on
Yep.
that, right? Okay.
Yep. That's a
cool.
good pick, Peter.
I'll make my number 5 a little quick because we're already at like 32 minutes. So my number 5 was Isle of Dogs. Did either of you guys see that movie?
No, but I've heard it was great.
Yeah, that's for the same.
Pretty damn solid. So just because it's a stop motion animation esque type of movie, don't take your little kids to see this. Do not take young children to see
Okay.
this. It's rated PG-13, but it's like a hard PG-13 with certain, I guess, respects. In that it's not like a total like. It's not a lot of foul language in it. There's a little bit, but pretty light on that. It's more just like a very kind of dark, just a really dark theme to it overall.
Gotcha.
The director and writer of that movie, it's very much in that wheelhouse. So like if you ever watch Captains is So, Moonlight Kingdom and stuff like that. Also Royal Tenenbaums, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Even Fantastic Mr. Fox was more of a kids movie, but definitely dark undertones. But ultimately though, still, I wouldn't take a kid to see this
Who
movie.
wrote this movie?
Why is the name escaping me right now? Let me look it up.
Sure.
Come
Wrote
on,
and
AJ, get your
directed?
shit together.
Wes Anderson. Why
Anderson.
did I blank on that? Yes, I love Wes
Okay.
Anderson films.
I actually haven't
Oh, they
seen
got
a
a
lot
good
of Wes
cast.
Anderson films, but
Bill
I
Murray.
always hear that they're good.
It's an amazing cast.
Yeah,
He
look at
always
Bill-
has an amazing
Bill Murray,
cast.
Jeff Goldblum, Bryan Cranston.
Yep.
Scarlett Johansson. Damn, Edward Norton.
Yep.
Damn, okay.
God damn.
Edward Norton plays a
man.
very good character.
I know that Wes Anderson...
Jeff Goldblum, if you didn't say his name
Yeah, I
already.
did, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Wes Anderson as a director is one of those ones where like when he makes a movie, it's a big deal. Like people always watch his films.
Yes.
They're very good, and they attract very good talent as you're
Yes.
pointing out. They always do. So I should definitely see this one.
He does have some actors that want to come back for any role that he'll give them, and this is no difference at all. It's a very top-notch film. Don't want to overhype it too much. Again, don't take your kids. Hide your wife as well. But no, it's a good film, very heartfelt.
We're really
and
connecting with the kids this episode.
I know, right? But ultimately, yeah, good, strong film, lovable characters. But it's not a happy-go-lucky story whatsoever either. But still charismatic characters nonetheless. Number 4, Peter, what's yours?
Crap. Number 4 goes to...
Say mine, Peter, not again.
Creed 2.
Oh,
Okay.
great pick. I don't know why I didn't think of Creed 2.
Creed 2, I loved it so much.
Not on my
It was
list,
so
but
good.
It was
well deserved.
really good.
God,
Just the way they handled it, I am still like amazed on how they brought in the flashbacks like from
Yes.
previous movies so
Yeah.
seamlessly. Just in watching YouTube videos, like
Yeah, I know I don't really like it when media, whether it be movies or video games or anything like that, play on nostalgia too much. But they do it in such a good way in this movie, while also doing their own thing and creating their new story, which feels familiar but also kind of different.
Yep.
Like it's everything about it is great. The pacing, the performances, God, it's so good.
super good.
Agreed. Definitely worth the watch. I would recommend watch Creed 1 before you see Creed 2. Not 100% necessary, but it makes you care for the characters a lot more,
Definitely.
I would say.
Yes.
All right.
You don't necessarily need to see part one because the story's semi-connected.
what he just said,
It's
John.
kind of self-contained to a degree. Just know that he does good in the first one.
My girlfriend's sister saw the second one before seeing the first, and yeah, she had no problems figuring out who the characters were and connecting with them.
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory for the most part. It's just, again, it's not so much about the destination, but more the journey that Adonis Creed goes through throughout the entire film.
Yep.
How about you, John? Number 4?
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse. Okay.
Yes. I absolutely love the art style they went with. It was great. It still trips me out that some parts of that movie, I felt like it needed to be in 3D, even though that was just the coloring they did. That really threw me off. That was my only real turn off to that movie. Was there were some scenes where I actually thought to myself, should I have gone 3D glasses, guys?
Like they purposely made things out of focus to a degree. And while that can be an art decision, at the same time, it did kind of take me out of the experience just a little bit.
Because it was
just a little
small little parts here.
See, I didn't even notice that at the time. So like I just assumed that everything that it was doing was just part of its style, was part of everything being so.
I think to a high degree it
stylized.
was.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But still, it didn't work completely for me either.
Just that was literally my only complaint about it.
That was my number 2 pick, by the way. Was Spider-Verse.
Nice.
Mine as well.
Wow.
Nice.
All right, guys. Cool.
It's just so unique. It's so
great. The soundtrack is amazing.
It revives the power of superhero movies tenfold.
Yeah, the art direction. You definitely believe this universe, multiverse, in fact, without them actually holding your hand and explaining all the history behind this world. They do it in a very fun and clever way. Like it certainly breathes new life into the comic book movie genre.
And brings some new surprises with it as well, as far as characters that I didn't exactly see coming.
Yeah.
Or at least a couple of them for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, they did a great job with that one. If you haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse yet, what are you doing?
What's
Definitely go
wrong
out and
with
see
you?
it.
Go
Watch
see
it.
Right?
Do it.
It's the holiday season. You have some free time.
It didn't do too good in the box office.
Did it not?
The first week, it did great, but it dropped
slowly forward.
really, really quickly.
Well, because
after
there
that.
are more
following
movies now.
Exactly, which
just
is a shame.
Curious, guys, who won that talk that we were talking about on which movie we thought was gonna make more money?
Oh, Aquaman destroyed it.
Who said Aquaman?
Probably me.
No, you said Spider-Verse.
Wait, what?
You said Spider-Verse. I said Aquaman.
I was on the fence.
Wait, as far as how good it was?
How-
No,
money.
box office.
I would have never said. You're lying to me. I would have never said Spider-Verse is
back
going to
to
make
the
more
tapes.
money.
You did.
Hit him up
did
on
not.
Twitter
And
at
you're the
PG
tape.
Chava.
At me.
Your reasoning behind it was because Bumblebee was coming out the same day as Aquaman.
So it would take away from it, which is a fair
you were
prediction.
thinking Aquaman, I believe, and then you're like, wait, they're coming out the same day, Spider-Verse.
I'm going to need proof of this. I have no memory of this.
Roll the clip.
And,
Roll the clip, right?
I think I would want Enter the Spider-Verse to be number 1.
Okay.
Easy.
I think I would want Enter the Spider-Verse to be number 1. Okay, easy.
AJ, edit in what I said
Please,
verbatim. Right
AJ.
I
there.
think I will.
Please.
I will take the
Should
time.
we stay quiet for 2 seconds so he can...
No.
Okay.
We'll jump back in. That's the power of
All right.
editing.
Well, just in case after the edit, told you, Peter, or my bad, Peter.
But yeah, ultimately, Spider-Verse definitely worth seeing. Go out there, give that money or that movie more money for sure, or give that money more movie, if you will. All
do you wanna do, guys?
Right. So you
As
said
long
your
as
number
money's
4.
involved.
That was my number 4.
All right, my number 4 is, I don't know if you guys put this or if you guys even saw this one, but Mission Impossible Fallout.
I have not. I've never
guys
seen
never saw
any
it?
of them.
They're
Never
pretty
any of them.
good. Impossible.
I've
Mission
heard
Impossible is
I've
good.
heard they're pretty good, and I've heard from a lot of people that this might actually be the best one.
Don't see number 2. I'm not a big Mission Impossible guy. That's a franchise where every new one that comes out, I want to go out and see it, but I never do. And this one, I just got hearing great review after great review after great review, and so I'm like, all right, I gotta take the time to see this. Went out to see it, pretty damn impressive.
I feel like it's like the last of your traditional action movies.
Right?
Because superhero movies are so in that you really don't see action movies like this as much.
Or spy movies in general. He's kind of a spy, right?
But I feel
That's
like
a-
spy
yeah, he's a
movies are
spy.
always
Yeah.
like once every 2
With the exception
years.
of James Bond.
Which it still only comes
and
out
then
every so often,
Kingsman.
like half a decade or so.
It's a superhero movie, right? Kingsman is...
Kingsman Spy, yeah.
Yeah.
They're agents. and
That
stuff
was
like
my
that.
favorite spy movie of whatever year that
Until
came out.
Golden Circle came out.
I heard the second one's
It's
trash.
so bad.
Golden Circle's the second one,
So
right?
bad, yes.
Yeah. No, yeah. First one, spectacular.
Oh god, I love it so much.
Second
I
one,
can watch that movie
a bit of a
over and over.
letdown to say the least. I mean, it had its fun parts, but ultimately it was a mishmash of just disappointment to say the least.
The word is that the studio involvement ruined the second one.
Really?
They forced them to do a lot of the things that they didn't want to do and rehash a lot of the same stuff, and it's a shame because I was really looking forward to it.
Oh yeah,
and it was really bad.
Some parts worked, but a lot didn't. The vast majority for me did not work. But yeah, Mission Impossible Fallout, I would agree that even though it took me a while to catch up with those movies, definitely the standout of them all. Henry Cavill does a great job alongside, I can't think of his name, Tom Cruise, the crazy man himself. But yeah, totally a good movie. I would recommend go see it. Take your time to, whether you're renting it online or whatever, stream it at home. It's a great, great watch. Super fun. Number 3, Peter.
Number 3 goes to, and this might be a shock that it's my number 3.
Interesting.
But it's actually Infinity War.
Whoa.
Shit, that was mine too, Peter.
Okay.
I swear to you.
Okay.
The best friendship is showing. All right.
Oh shit.
Talk to me.
Let me say this right now.
Please.
It's really hard to say. I love the movie. I thought it was great. I don't think it's my favorite Marvel movie, and you'll see why. But it's so good at drawing you in. There's been 2 times now where it's kind of been playing in the background, and 3 hours of my life is gone.
Yeah.
Just sitting there watching.
That's cool.
It's really hard
good.
for a movie to just draw me in, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a buy it from John?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
I wouldn't buy it,
so
but it's
good.
on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Oh, it is?
It's on Netflix.
I had no
Christmas
idea.
Day.
I believe this is the last Marvel movie that they're gonna, or Marvel comic book movie that they're releasing on Netflix.
Going out with a bang.
Oh yeah.
Or would you
doubt.
say a snap?
Hey.
Sorry, I had to. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue though.
But
Infinity
anyway,
War.
this movie is great. The reason it's number 3, for those of you that haven't realized, Spider-Verse, as I mentioned, was my number 2.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I put Spider-Verse as number 2 is because it does a great job of standing on its own. Infinity War, you need to at least have some idea of the universe that already exists, of the past 15, 20 movies, however many it is at this point.
Very good point.
So as much as I love Infinity War, and it's great, it does a good job of culminating everything that they've been building towards.
Such a great job.
It's still, Spider-Verse is still above that for being so unique and for being good at standing alone, standing on its own.
A good entry-level film, I guess, for anyone.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but I would say, though, in Infinity War's defense, I totally agree with what you're saying, Peter, but I will say that Infinity War is a great payoff for the fans that have been watching for the past, 10 years?
Yeah.
Of Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. It's like the ultimate payoff, I would say.
Yeah.
And Endgame is just going to... I imagine we'll top that even more.
I think Endgame is the payoff for the fans.
The final payoff for that. Heck,
and you know it's going to be great. And I still trip out on... The first trailer for Infinity War was just action, Thanos fucking shit up, and then Endgame is very, after it. You can literally see this trailer and then watch the following one, and you would know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's really good.
They're definitely not... but it's interesting. They're not really harping on how many characters are dead or alive left, really. It's just kind of Endgame is left, leaving you to wonder where they're going to go from here. How are they going to even regroup if they happen to at all?
I just really hope. My biggest fear for Endgame is that they're going to... It should be no surprise to anybody that they're going to bring some characters back. I just really hope they do it in a good way and it doesn't feel cheap or...
I want to be excited when it happens.
Yeah.
I want to be... I want everyone to be cheering when it happens. And I hope it's not just oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Flip of a switch. Everyone's okay again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if...
I'm thinking there's going to be...
Please.
If I had to make a prediction, I would think that there's going to have to be some sort of sacrifice to go along with it.
That would make us care a lot more.
Yeah, so it wouldn't feel as cheap. So it's a give and take. We get these characters back, but we lose some in the process.
Don't make me cry, Disney. Don't make me cry in this
They've done
movie.
it in the past several
again,
times.
please.
But yeah, no, Infinity War definitely worthy of at least number 3, I'll say. Okay, Joe, you said that was your number 3 as well, right?
Yes, it was, yes.
All right, my number 3. I have to say, I just had a great freaking time watching this movie in theaters. It was a great theatrical experience, and everyone I've talked to outside of you guys has said they had a great time with it as well. And that's Overlord. I just had a really fun time with that movie. It was really it was a movie that was actiony. It had a slight bit of horror aspect to it, some good suspense, fun special effects with a lower budget, if I'm not mistaken, as well. It did a great job of taking itself not too seriously and yet making me care about everything that happened in that movie for the most part. Really fun. I just love that it was a war movie. It made me care. It brought my attention into it. The moment the movie started, you were like worried about every character in that film, and then all of a sudden you care about a very core amount of characters by the end of it. You know,
I feel like the lack of budget plays into it. Kind of has a lull in the later part of Act 1 and certainly throughout Act 2, because most of it takes place inside this one house.
Yeah,
I enjoyed this movie, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I connected with it as much as a lot of others did, you two being some of them, and then a lot of other people I've spoken with who really loved it. I mean, it was fun, but
it's not my top 5.
No, not at all.
But
fair enough.
Honorable mention for the first 10 minutes of that
goddamn, the first 10 minutes are great.
Just easily.
Just an adrenaline rush right out of the gate.
For me, though, I thought the parts in the house made me kind of connect with the characters a little bit more. It made me care about them. I got to know their personalities a little bit more. There's one character that kind of plays like an asshole throughout the first half of the film, and then you start to realize maybe he's not such a bad guy anymore. He's not quite a dick.
The characters, I mean, they're all kind of like war movie tropes. You got the guy from Boston, and he's kind of a dick, and he likes baseball. And
I agree, but I guess that kind of just brought back old charm from other old war movies that I've watched in the past.
You really don't see around as much. I feel like that was really big in the early 2000s. All of those war movies, and they just died out.
Yep,
Saving Private Ryan.
There's only so many wars.
That's the best one of them all, of course, Saving Private Ryan. But I guess this put like a more comedic and lighthearted spin on it. While, it wasn't quite the caliber of Saving Private Ryan, obviously.
It wasn't trying to be.
It definitely wasn't trying to be. Yeah, but I like that it kind of brought back those old tropes. For me personally, I like movies like that. That's just me, though.
All right.
So that's my number 3. Maybe it shouldn't have been number 3, but I personally enjoyed them a lot.
It's your top 5, whatever you want.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
It's wrong.
Fair enough. But I thought they did a great job with it. Number 2, Mr. Peter.
So, as I said earlier, it was Spider-Verse. I feel like I've already talked about that enough.
Right. Okay.
So, we'll just skip me.
So you said your number 2.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Black Panther.
Okay.
Okay.
I absolutely love that movie. I thought Claw was great, but honestly, what did it for me was Killmonger. I don't think I've fallen in love with the villain this hard since the Joker.
Nice.
I definitely.
Heath Ledger's Joker, I presume?
Yes,
okay.
definitely. Well, maybe. I don't know. No, definitely.
We'll see with Joaquin Phoenix. Who knows?
Yeah, Killmonger was great. He just had me in the entire time. This is another great example of I think I like the movie more because of the villain than the actual hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
It does a good job of explaining the character's motivations and actually you kind of agreeing with him too.
And you slowly see him become like he's already a madman, obviously, but in the movie itself, they slowly show how he just kind of follows Claw to just becoming like a fucking psychopath.
He straight up uses him kind of in a way.
And then even when I don't remember the agent's name, but he gives the background story how these guys are just meant to take down kings, basically.
Yeah.
It was great. Like I absolutely loved it. All the marks on his body is like
he has no shame.
Is a kill.
He wears them more as a treasure. Yeah.
He was just
crazy.
a man with vengeance. He had nothing else in his eyes but vengeance. I thought was so good.
Andy Serkis's performance was fucking incredible.
He was a great Claw.
Claw was so good.
Have you seen him do interviews like talking about it? Like he loved doing this character.
That's what I've heard.
And you could tell like he had a blast doing it, and it was very fun watching him.
Sucks that he's done. Same thing with Killmonger. I would have loved to have seen him come back. He's so great. And this does follow like that classic Marvel trope where it's basically the hero in reverse.
It's the bad version of the hero.
That was only slightly disappointing
it was
part
so
of it.
good. You don't even notice it. Because you don't even really see it until the very end where he gets like the Black Panther suit.
That's true. They held off for like the last 30 minutes of the movie.
And then even when he's like, you can survive, and he's like, no, I want to die. Like, fucking great.
Yeah, for a second I thought they were gonna let him live, and that part was very hard. Because on the one hand, I'm just like I want him to live, but on the
give
other
him redemption, maybe.
Yes, but on the other hand, I liked that he was just like no, like I'd rather die.
Yeah, I'd rather die than be part of this world. Yeah,
and I'm just like God.
I think
that's hardcore.
So good.
I think Michael B. Jordan might be my favorite actor right now.
That's fair to say.
He killed it in Creed. He killed it in Killmonger. Black Panther.
Who would have guessed?
Killmonger, the movie. Yeah.
I honestly thought this was going to be your personal number 1, John. So I'm excited to see what you have for number 1, really.
Oh, I'll say mine for last.
Yeah, fair enough. I like that. Okay.
Mine's going to come out of left field, too.
Wow. Okay. I think mine's definitely more predictable, but we'll get into that in a little bit. I want to talk a little bit more Black Panther, though. We don't have to touch on it much. I just want to say...
Let's keep talking.
For me personally, again, like I said earlier, I haven't seen that movie since it was in theaters.
What's wrong with you, AJ?
I've seen it a few times.
I enjoyed it.
Really
I enjoyed it, and I thought it was really, really fun. Really, really great. There were some cringy parts about it, like the whole... I don't know. Just
What
some
are
of some.
those?
Yeah, that's gonna be a joke
gotta
that
laugh out of
ages
me.
super quick.
What scene?
The part
When
when his
her-
sister's
when his
like,
sister-
what are those?
Oh,
She does the meme.
that was one of those
Yeah.
situations that I've never seen the meme.
Oh, okay.
So
Did it mean anything to you? Did you laugh?
It didn't faze me at all.
It didn't mean
Oh, okay.
anything
It wasn't
to
until
you?
I walked up with my girlfriend that she actually said that. I think that's kind of lame that they did that meme. I was like, what meme?
Yeah, because like again, like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, people are gonna watch that movie probably,
It's gonna
and
be
they're
dated
gonna be
at
like,
that point.
"Why did that lady react that
But
way?"
it's the same reaction like I had.
See,
It didn't
and it
bother me.
takes-
That it's so quick. It's
It
so
is
brief.
quick. I just think
That's
it was
what I mean.
low hanging fruit.
It's just a quick
It's
little thing.
soup.
It
It's
is.
like 3
I
seconds.
thought it was funny.
It's a very light critique on my part. I just think it's ultimately unnecessary.
It's not for everybody.
It's like Mariah Carey when she sings about YouTube in that one song. That's all.
She does?
Yeah, she says YouTube in a song. It's
Oh.
dumb. I don't know.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
You
shouldn't
just
bring
don't
that stuff
reference pop culture that much, you know?
Because then your shit gets dated.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
as good. But that was a little scene.
Remember that
from a
song? I think it was Pitbull where he mentions MySpace.
Oh wow, I don't doubt it.
But
He
I don't-
mentions
But
like
there
the,
you go.
the top 8 or some shit.
But I'm sure people still listen to that shit.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean he's still around today making
Yeah.
millions of dollars. So Mr. Worldwide. But- so yeah, he's still doing fine for himself, I'm sure. But yeah, ultimately though, Black Panther, solid
I
package.
thought it was so good. I mean, except for the fact that you have like those attachments to the characters in Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't have those attachments, I think both movies would be equally as great.
I
I think
agree.
the only reason Infinity War is slightly better is just because, like you said, you get that payoff. You have the attachment to the heroes. People are dying left and right. It's crazy. It's good, but in the long run,
the only reason I didn't have this in my top 5, because I absolutely loved it, probably as much as you did, is because I already had 2 comic book movies in here, and I feel like these were better than both of them at doing particular things.
Awesome. I love that you have justification for it. Sick.
I'm a comic book nerd.
Yeah, but God, did I love the movie
Yeah,
for
it was
every reason that you said. The villain,
Hell yeah.
the plot, how they, how the story unfolds. Killmonger and Michael B. Jordan's performance is incredible. Just
For real.
so good.
He brings it for sure. in that
Hashtag
movie.
bring back Michael B.
M'Baku,
Jordan.
Right.
He's a pretty fun character.
Oh yeah, who's also, as you said earlier, going to be in Us in 2019. So
Yeah,
I'm glad that that guy is spreading his wings
A lot of
a bit.
confusion was happening about actresses.
It's all good. So my number 2 was Into the Spider-Verse. I just think it was a really great original idea that brought new fire into the superhero genre for sure. I enjoyed it. Like you guys said earlier, obviously the animation style is awesome. The soundtrack hit with every beat. I loved it. I care about the characters. Everyone was awesome. Don't need to get into it much further. We had a lot to say about it earlier.
It's a great movie. Watch it.
Solid film.
Give them your money.
Number 1s.
Okay, so number 1 for me, and it's a horror movie that you guys probably haven't seen,
Oh,
but it's Hereditary.
I did see it.
Oh, you did see it?
I did see it, but like after it was out of theaters, I watched it on. I streamed it recently.
How did you see it? Or how did you like it?
I liked it. I think it was a little overhyped for me, but ultimately
It
a
definitely
very
can
solid
suffer from that.
horror film. Solid
Yes.
horror film.
I saw it
just heard
in
it's good.
theaters at the tail end of its theaters, only because I had never heard about it, so I didn't see the trailer. I knew nothing going in, and I heard about it through word of mouth, and so I went
Yeah,
to go
same.
see it, and so my expectations were at 0. Like I had no idea what to expect,
Yeah.
and it does a good job, similar to Get Out. Did we mentioned that right earlier?
We talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
A good amount.
I just wasn't sure if we were recording when we talked about it,
No,
but
yeah.
it does a good. It plays with your expectations. Like the movie starts, like you think it's one thing, and then it turns into something else, and then it also does a good job. Similar of, did we also talk about The Witch on here, or was that?
I did right
John
now.
just
yeah.
mentioned
I
that he
don't
liked
think we brought
it.
But
Yeah.
we did talk about The Witch on
Yeah.
the Halloween episode.
So they do. I probably talked about Hereditary on the Halloween episode. Actually,
You briefly brought it.
You've mentioned it.
It does a very good job. There's not necessarily horror or gore or jump scares, but it does a really good job of making you just feel uncomfortable. And not even in like horror
Yeah.
situations. There's a part like where they're around at the dinner table just having dinner,
Yeah.
and there's just
It's an awkward
a
mess.
conversation between two characters, and you're just like, oh
Is this
god,
really happening right now?
Yeah, you're just like, holy shit.
It's cringy, but in a good way because you just feel awkward in the scene with the
You
characters.
feel like you're at the table with these people.
Yeah.
Like it's so uncomfortable, but it's so
Is
good
it
for
supernatural science
I
experiment?
don't want to say anything.
Yeah.
You really need to see
I need
it.
to
There's
watch it,
something
okay.
to it, and it's not.
Is it on Netflix?
I don't
I
believe
don't
it
think
is.
so.
No,
All
when I
right.
looked it up, it wasn't. So I just rented it for like $3
Okay.
on Amazon.
But
I believe.
it's worth a watch. It's
Okay.
not for everybody. Some people hated it, but I feel like that's because they were expecting a more modern take on horror. Because from what I've heard, the trailer actually plays it like that. It makes you think it's something more streamlined with a jump scary type movie, and it is far from that. So,
it might have a jump scare, one or two,
Maybe.
but it's not very cheap of a movie.
it does a good job of doing what older horror movies used to do, in which it plays with sound and it plays with visuals in such a very unsettling way. It doesn't rely on gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you scared me.
Right? But you feel a tension throughout each scene.
Sometimes you'll hear a noise and you don't see what it is at first, and then they slowly pan over, and then you're just like, oh god, what is it? What is it? What is it? And then you see it and you're just like, oh my god, it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
God, it's great. I can't
pretty
sing
gross.
its praises enough. I loved it.
Watch it with
Number
the lights
one.
off. Watch it with a number one. See, number one for me, that's a little strong, but I did like it a lot. I did like it a lot.
He's saying you're wrong.
No.
That's what it sounded like.
I respect your choices. Your top 5. It's your top 5, as you said.
Damn right.
Yes. Hell yeah. I think it's a good
But you're
movie as
wrong.
well. Scary for sure. I went to bed a little uncomfortable that night.
Oh yeah.
I heard that
God.
clicking in my sleep almost.
I didn't know what to expect. I felt so bad for my girlfriend.
I
I felt
you
so
said
bad
she
for
just get
taking her to
scared.
see that. Like, I did not know it was going to be
Did she
that
keep
bad.
you up all night?
It scared the hell out of me.
I had
And
to watch it
don't
by
get scared
myself,
easy,
all right?
but,
Because
like,
my
it
girlfriend won't see those movies. So,
God,
feel bad for me,
it,
Peter.
It freaked me out for a few days, and that's pretty hard to do.
Yeah.
Not to say I'm fearless, but I'm very aware that movies are make believe.
They're movies, yeah.
But God, it made me uncomfortable. Oh, let's just ignore that.
Come
That's
on,
all right.
Vader. Professional. That's why that's his number one pick.
When you silence your phone,
calling
does
us?
it silence your watch?
What?
When you silence your phone, does it silence your watch as well?
Yes.
I'm just curious. So you had it not on
God
ring
damn it.
alone. Okay, that's all right. So you wanted to save your number one for
Yes,
last. Totally
let's
fine
do
with
it.
that because my number one is a little repetitive anyway, in that my number one was Infinity War. Not probably a big surprise, but it's just for the same reasons we said earlier. Like Spider-Verse, like this movie, it was just a huge culmination of everything we've known over the past 10 years. Lovable characters that we see ultimately perish. Well, maybe not ultimately. We'll
see.
We'll see how that goes.
For now, at the time of recording,
Like you said, Peter, though, I do like the idea, though, of there having to be a sacrifice. Something for us to care about these characters coming back instead of just a big, yay, I guess they're back now for
Everybody's
some
back.
cheap
Yeah,
reason.
exactly.
Rather than having... Because the whole reason we cared about the end of Infinity War is because of how it ended. We're left with a desolate situation. Everyone's gone. Almost everyone is gone. And, that's why you care, because all these people leave. And so, in order for us to care about people coming back, we need to care about something else having to be given up. Some sort of equivalent exchange, if you will. So, whether it's one sacrifice or many, I feel like they're going to lead towards one heavy sacrifice
Yeah.
in order to equate what we're going to be getting
Let's
back.
throw out guesses.
Cap.
Tony Stark.
Tony Stark, yeah.
Tony Stark?
Yeah.
He is the character that you love a lot, but also has reasons to die.
He's old.
He's old.
He is old, and
He's
he's
been in it
also
long
he's
enough.
caused a lot of problems within the MCU. Like, I mean, not as an actor, but as a character.
Some people, even in the universe, some people hate him.
So it could be justified in that
Yeah.
reason.
And
but
I feel like also it's only fitting that the universe started with him, and this phase
see.
would end with him,
Sure.
or with him perishing anyway, or making the sacrifice play.
yeah, I see. I could agree with that, but I feel like they already made us think that he was going to die for a split second in Infinity War when he gets stabbed in like the
Everybody in
liver
the
or
theater
whatever.
gasped when
I
that
totally
happened.
gasped. I said like, "Oh my god!"
Because
like, really loud.
Because you think
It's a national treasure, guys.
Yes, exactly.
because you think because you are in the back of your mind, if you follow these films, you already think like, oh god, like his contract is kind of like he's played around with
Yeah.
when or not his last film's gonna be. He's getting kind of low, so you're like, you believe it. You're just like, oh
Sun's
shit, they're
getting
doing
real
this.
low.
It's actually happening.
Happening.
Yeah.
And they don't.
And
which
then
is
they-
also which is just done very well. Like they
Right.
psych you out. They make you think like it's great. I love this movie.
It was kind of a quick fix the way he survived, but
little
I mean,
bit.
but at the same time though, it was like immediately, like you said, Peter, everyone was in awe, and then everyone was really quiet until he recovers. And I was like, oh crap, okay, so he's okay.
I went to see this movie twice. So the second time I took my mother, and
Mm-hmm.
she like audibly went, "No!"
Right? Yeah, understandable. Understandable. It was shocking for sure. So that's why I wonder, like, they already teased us once. Will they actually go through with it for the second, or for the sequel, I guess? Who's to say? I think maybe Cap, just because he's been the best boy the whole way through this franchise, and so maybe that's someone we'll really care about. I think ultimately people love Tony Stark more than Captain America.
And Cap didn't have a lot of play in Infinity War.
Yeah, that's true, but maybe they'll... I mean, it seems
This
like
next
the
one's gonna
trailer's
be heavy
revolving
on it.
around him a
Probably,
lot,
yeah.
though. I think so, because he's one of the bigger stars in the trailer, at least so far. For all we know, maybe it's kind of a psych out like they've done with other trailers recently, but I feel like since he's such a pure soul in these films, that's why it's going to be a heavy loss in the end. But who's to say what's
We'll
really
see.
going to happen?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see for sure. So number 1, John.
Okay,
Hey.
so we didn't specifically say it had to be movies, right? It can be just top 5 of 2018.
I said movies, but we can go with top 5
Okay,
anything.
well, I'm gonna
Just go
cop
for it.
out.
Yeah, go for
My
it.
number 1 is doing the podcast with you guys.
Oh,
It's 12 episodes in.
audible tears. Audible tears. Yeah, sure.
Being
sure.
able to review these movies with you guys, whatever listeners we have, it's great.
Yep.
Hopefully 2019 would be better.
I mean,
Hopefully.
we'll have a full year's worth
Yeah.
to grow for
See
sure.
way more movies.
We're,
Yes.
we're already
More.
working on better equipment for the new year.
Yes,
That's gonna be
exactly.
good.
That's in the works. We're gonna have new equipment by next episode, by
Yep.
13.
Yep.
So hopefully the quality is
So,
going to get bumped up a
That's
bit.
my number 1, guys. I love you. I love myself a little bit more, but it's pretty great that we get to do something like this and
Hell,
meet
yes.
up every Sunday.
Very true. We don't spend enough time together.
Exactly.
I was not expecting the podcast to get so sappy towards the end.
I did not see that
Yeah,
coming
I
either.
caught
I
that.
hate you.
But
Don't.
yeah,
Yeah,
prior
don't
to
make me
doing
feel
the
something.
prior to doing the podcast, we don't really hang out all that much. We all got
Adult
things going on in our
thing,
lives. We got other things to do, but this gives us a reason to hang out once a week, and I
Just
love
nerd
it.
out. Yeah.
Yes, a good
it's great.
excuse to. I lied though. This is actually episode 13 already. So by episode 14, we will have. So yeah, we've been doing this for over 3 months now. Not bad.
Not bad.
Not
yeah.
bad at all.
And we've
Good
had slow
experience.
growth as well, which is good. It's better slow growth than no growth. Just to talk statistics.
Doesn't matter the community. Go
Yeah.
ahead and just listen to us.
Yeah, no, I mean, but we appreciate you guys. The community slowly growing.
Yeah.
Again, we definitely don't have the most followers on social media
Yeah,
or
that's
anything
not
like
the
that.
point.
But no, and every time we do put something out, though, people watch it and people like it. And so I just appreciate little things like that, you know? We've had, I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast, but I did talk with John and Peter recently. Like when we had, something that we have on here is called a quick bit. We just upload to social media, like little bite-sized bits of each episode. Every now and then, and for our number 7, it was talking about the X-Men timeline. You guys can go back and watch that if you want on Instagram and Twitter. And an actress from X-Men Apocalypse actually like commented and liked our video, so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that
like
was pretty exciting.
people are just noticing, and for you who's listening to take the time to have fun and listen to us, thank you so much. I know I have some friends and coworkers that have had nice things to say as well, so to you guys listening, like shout out to you.
Shout out to you all.
Thanks for taking the time.
Shout out.
Yes.
It means a lot. And again, if you ever have anything you want us to bring up, let us know. We're always happy to shout you out as well. This has been a blast, and yeah, look
To
forward to
2019,
2019.
yeah, right.
2019. We should have saved the champagne for today.
Yeah.
That's all right. Well, New Year's
We'll get
Eve
better
is
at
coming
planning things
around.
out in 2019.
Yeah, we have some things in the works. Peter's girlfriend is going to be helping us out with a little bit of organization.
Yep.
For sure. So that'll be a big help.
nice.
Shout out to you.
Yes, shout out to you.
Don't know if you want me to say
Peter
your name, so I
girlfriend.
won't.
We'll keep it. We'll keep Peter girlfriend for now. How about
Okay.
that?
Yeah, Peter girlfriend.
Peter girlfriend. Interesting. Not even Peter's, just Peter girlfriend. Okay, for sure. So, yeah, crazy episode.
But just so you guys
Crazy
know,
show.
Black Panther would be my number 1.
I was gonna ask
Okay.
actually. I was like, okay, for
Creed-
real though. What's
Creed,
your
Creed would have been number 5. Everything
Okay.
would have scooted
Okay.
up by 1.
I like that. Actually, good. Well thought out. My honorable mention, just to get into it real quick.
It's wrong.
Was yeah, fair enough. An honorable mention. It didn't. I don't know if it should be in the top 5. I might replace one. I might replace Overlord with this, but I thought you guys didn't see it. A Star Is Born though was a good movie.
I've
Makes
heard
you
that.
feel
I've heard it's
a
so good.
lot.
Yeah.
I don't want to
I
overhype.
need to see it.
It's just it's not a happy movie. It's not a happy movie.
I'm
at
fine
all.
with that.
It's not.
In
It's
fact,
not
I
a
think I
musical
prefer
like
movies that
either.
aren't happy. they're more real. Life isn't
Yeah.
always happy, sunshine and rainbows. Like they just make me feel more connected to the characters when it's more grounded in reality like that. Like not everything's.
And that's
Not
what this
everything's
movie
good.
does. That's what this movie does. I agree. Yeah,
It's more believable for me.
for sure. And I think a lot of people would agree with you. I mean, I don't know if it's Manchester by the Sea. If you guys saw that with Casey Affleck,
Never heard of it.
No.
that is another movie that it's not a
You gotta send me some of these movies.
I'm down, dude.
Yeah.
Watch it. It's if you have Prime. It's Manchester by the Sea should still be free on Prime. I believe it was originally an Amazon movie,
Okay.
and it hit theaters to like a very limited release. But Casey Affleck won Best Actor for this movie.
Okay.
Anyway, but that wasn't 2018 though. But yeah, Star is Born. Some people feel like it's overhyped and understandable because people were raving about it, and it had a lot of Oscar buzz and such. But to see what those actors were able to pull off. Pretty amazing, I would say. Pretty heartfelt for sure. But speaking of heartfelt, yeah, this podcast has been really fun. This is not the end of ST Geek at all. Look forward to the future.
Oh, no.
Again, 2019, gonna be a big year for us. Gonna be a fun year for sure. So if ever you have anything you want us to talk about, let us know. STGeekPod@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter. Same name, STGeekPod. Instagram as well. Any parting words, you guys?
I love you all.
Thank you very much for listening. We all love you.
Subnautical Translation Geek. We'll see you next time. Later.
Peace.
Bye. Check.
Check.
Check your booty.